This Week in Startups is brought to you by Walker Corporate Law, a boutique law firm specializing in the representation of entrepreneurs. Visit them at walkercorporatelaw.com. And Squarespace. Start building your website today at squarespace.com. Enter offer code TWIST at checkout to get 10% off.
Hey everybody, welcome to This Week in Startups. I'm your host, Jason Calacanis, and today on the program we're going to talk about self-driving cars in the wake of the first, regrettably, death in a car with self-driving technology on, and with now, let's face it, millions and millions of miles have been logged, hundreds of millions in fact, across this. It's becoming a quick reality. When will we have self-driving cars? When will we go to level 4 autonomy, which is, hey, no steering wheel in the car. The car can just take you from point A to point B without you ever using it. It's a question I pose to a lot of my friends. I say, what year will the majority of miles be driven autonomously? Well, today on the program, we have George Hotz. And George Hotz just recently raised a little bit of money from some famous people for Comma.ai. And he, you're a pretty notable hacker. You've done a bunch of iPhone hacks and PlayStation hacks. I think it's fair to say you're a hacker, developer.
Well, who knows what that word means?
Who knows what it means today?
Words mean anything these days.
Yeah. Welcome to the program, George Hotz. You are working on Comma.ai. Let me ask you this question, we're just starting out, on self-driving cars and level 4 autonomy, which I think I have the proper term here. Level 4 is the entire system is being run by computers. When do you think the majority of miles in a major city here in the United States will be done autonomously? How close is the technology, since you're working on it, and we're going to show your technology in just a minute?
So I have no idea. We don't build level 4 technology. I hope no one told you that we did. What we build is autopilot, essentially.
Autopilot.
We build driver assistance systems that will get increasingly more and more sophisticated, starting with highways until eventually being able to do a commute door to door with the push of a button.
Got it. But the finer point here is it'll be what they call, would that be considered level 3?
That would be level 3, yes.
Yeah, so level 3 means multiple aspects of the driving are taken over, but the driver must be in the driver's seat and paying attention.
Yes.
So let's take a look at it here. You built this system entirely on your own. One person built a self-driving system.
I built the prototype of the system.
Got it.
What you see today has been built by several very talented engineers. You know, we're turning this thing into a real product and not a prototype.
Got it. And so here we're watching a video. Walk us through, we'll put the sound up, and you can tell us, what are we seeing here? This is Engadget.
I'm here with George Hotz and his autonomous
self-driving.
Self-driving.
So this is the car. This is when we were in
What is this, an Audi?
No, we're not Cruise. This is an Acura ILX.
Acura, got it.
It's an Acura ILX. It's the cheapest car you can buy with a Mobileye, I believe.
What's a Mobileye?
Well, Mobileye is kind of the generic term for low-quality driver assistance feature.
Got it.
Right? Like, a lot of cars today are shipping with things like LCAS and ACC, lane keeping assist system, which is supposed to keep you in the lane. But what a lot of these things do is they just won't cross a lane line. But they'll drift from the left side to the right side to the left side. Then you have these ACC systems that are incapable of, like, braking to a full stop if the cars slow down in front of you, right? So you have these
automatic cruise control, is that what that means?
Yeah, ACC is adaptive cruise control because it can use the brakes as well as the gas.
Got it.
And it will slow down. Really, it'll slow down for the car in front of you, right? So if you set the cruise at 70, the guy in front of you is going 65, your car will go 65 to safe following distance.
Got it. So walk us through, when we're watching this technology here in your system from Comma.ai, you can go see online, what are the core components of your technology? What do you need to have in a car? Because this is something you're going to adapt to existing vehicles on the road, if my understanding is correct.
Yes.
What are the pieces that get installed on the car?
So right now we have a single camera and a single radar.
Okay.
For our very early launch, we will probably only be supporting cars that already have radars inside of them, but we will be asking the user to install a camera.
Okay, so the camera installs by the dashboard or something to that effect. And what is the camera doing and what is the radar doing? in these systems? Explain it as if, like, a layperson,
Sure.
is buying the car. What exactly is happening?
Sure. So we use deep learning to process the picture from the camera. And what we get from that picture is the predicted path, where the car should go, where the lanes are, and where the other cars around you are.
Got it.
So you now know how to stay in the lane, what a good path to take is, even if there's no lanes, and how to avoid hitting cars and also pedestrians around you.
Got it. And what is the radar doing in this case then?
So it's very hard from an image to determine how fast a car is going accurately. So you can do this, and humans do it, but humans do it rather poorly. If there's a car at about 100 meters distance from your car, and you ask a human how far away that car is, most humans will say something like 40 meters. That's a calibration issue. Humans who are calibrated can do better, but they still have like plus or minus 10 meters. Now, you can drive with that, but if you have a radar, you can drive much better. You can keep like an exact following distance behind a car. You can know exactly how much we call it the lead car, is decelerating, so you can match his deceleration. So our system works in stop and go traffic, and it feels better than any human I've ever seen drive.
Really?
And the reason we can do that is because humans are really bad at driving in traffic. They're really bad. Have you ever noticed, like, when a human will like look down for a second and then they'll look up, they'll see the car in front of them moved and they'll slam on the gas because they got to catch up, and then they'll slam on the brake? This actually causes traffic. Imagine instead just gliding with the car in front of you, and then imagine all the cars started gliding.
This would alleviate traffic and fender benders.
It would alleviate traffic, it would alleviate fender benders, but the great thing is, this doesn't require a mass install of a lot of people. The day you get one of these systems, it is usable to you today. Our system can drive through traffic, you turn it on, you sit back, and it drives in the traffic. Now, pay attention, but, it's good.
And with the crash we saw this past week, there's been a lot of attention. We don't know all the facts, obviously, so you can't tell me, and I can't tell you, nobody can tell if this person was watching a movie or sleeping.
Sure.
We don't know. But it does seem like there is a high probability that this person, in addition to this person didn't see the truck that cut them off or turned in front of them.
Yeah.
So what is your handicapping of that situation? And
What do you mean by handicap?
what do you think actually happened in that situation?
My guess.
Yeah, it's an educated guess.
It's an educated guess from the things I've read. Brad Templeton has some very good blog posts about this, about the crash. My guess is that the driver was not paying attention. The car didn't see the truck. The driver didn't see the truck. He hit the truck.
Yeah.
It seems, from what I can tell, too, that the truck made the turn before the driver could see the Tesla. So the truck is in the middle of making this left turn. Normally a car that's like 200 meters back, 200 meters back, you see it, you slow down in time, and it's all safe.
Right.
It's not completely safe. Actually, that road really isn't that well designed.
Yeah.
When you really think about it, if a truck can make a left turn and not be able to finish the left turn in the time it takes a car going 10 miles over the speed limit to reach a collision, that's not a well-designed road.
It should have not allowed people to make a left.
Yes.
It should have been an off-ramp, an overhead ramp, or a stop sign.
Yes.
Or a stop sign or a stop light.
It turns out when you look at the statistics, this is a fairly common accident. Because it's not something that humans are expecting, right? You're cruising down a highway at 65 miles an hour, and you just don't expect there to be a big truck there, right?
Right.
So this accident happened long before Tesla Autopilot. This is not the first time anyone has ever hit a truck making a left turn in a highway.
Right, because trucks take a long time to pass through. If it was a regular car...
if it was a regular car, it would have been no problem.
Right.
The truck, you got to put into gear. You got to really get it up to speed.
The other issue, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, is these trucks in the United States don't have a fender, a guardrail, so you can actually have a car go underneath them or from the back submerge underneath them, which, by the way, decapitates the car and the driver, which sadly is what happened here, I believe. Now, if they had that rail on the side, it would have been a 45-mile-an-hour accident, which would have been easily survivable in a Tesla.
Yeah. The Tesla Model S is an incredibly safe car. You got to give it to Tesla for that. But your frontal collision depends on the front of the car hitting something. If your collision is up at the cabin height,
So, is there anything in the self-driving world in technology today is there a tweak that could be made that would help solve for this, but
yeah. So it is important to understand that Tesla's system and our system is not a self-driving system, right? Now, people say, oh, well, Tesla shouldn't market it as autopilot then. No, this guy had tons of experience in the car. He knew exactly what it was capable of and what it was not capable of. The truth is, humans get distracted, self-driving system or no self-driving system.
Right.
Distracted driving is a huge cause of death in this country. So it's... Although specifically, and we can get into the technical specifics of what happened in this case, we should not expect these systems to be able to react in all situations. And if you are using one of these systems, you should always be alert. Just as, people are calling this the first self-driving car accident, and it really isn't, because it's not a self-driving car, it's a driver assistance system.
Right.
And then it's certainly not the first driver assistance system accident. How many people have had cruise control on, fallen asleep, and flown off highways at 65 miles an hour?
Many.
Right? Many.
So
it's not, it is not, this accident is not that unprecedented.
Right. What are the situations, the edge cases, that are the most challenging in building these assisted driving systems, the autopilot systems? What are the edge cases that are just going to take a long time?
This was not an edge case.
Right.
This was not an edge case. This was, this happened for a few reasons. First off, Mobileye came out with a press release saying, oh, we don't support that. LTAP, lateral turn across path. We won't support that until 2018. What are you trying to say?
Right.
I mean, what? You have a special acronym for this accident and you don't support it? No, that's a part of driving. You should at least try to support it.
Right.
The other two specific technical problems. The camera on the Tesla, the camera that Mobileye recommends, is not a color camera. It's red, clear, clear, clear is the Bayer pattern. So basically the only car that color could see was red. The white truck and the blue sky looked identical. Probably. I mean, if the contrasts were the same, it's very hard.
And Tesla said as much. It's just hard to see.
Yeah. So it's RCCC. The other problem is these radars have onboard processing that is not very good. So, and Elon tweeted about how you have to filter out stationary objects when you're using one of these radars because it could be an overhead sign.
Right.
And there's a lot more false positives. So it was a failure of both the visual system and the radar system. Our car has something similar. If you want to stop for a stationary object, we need both a visual confirmation and a radar confirmation. Actually, we had some issues with that in Vegas. There were a few, it's not that the car didn't stop, but it hit the brakes too late. We're working on them, and actually they've mostly been fixed.
Yeah, because it does seem to me that slamming on the brakes is a decision that you do not take lightly in an autopilot or a driver assist condition because it could have massive ramifications. When we get back, I want to talk about how artificial intelligence and machine learning will play into all of these systems when we get back on This Week in Startups. Let me just take a quick moment to tell all the startups listening that Scott Walker is an amazing attorney. I know because a lot of my incubator companies and investments use Scott Walker, and we just had a discussion about law firms on our secret discussion group, and people were talking about how much they love working with Scott Walker and the Walker Corporate Law Firm. They're a boutique law firm specializing in the representation of entrepreneurs and startups, and they encourage fixed fees. They believe billable hours reward inefficiency, and they just love to tell you this is what it's going to cost. How refreshing is that as an entrepreneur to not have that sticker shock, to not have that fear of opening up the PDF from your law firm and getting that ridiculous surprise that they went 3 times over. You're not going to have that happen with the Walker Corporate Law Group because they do fixed fees, and all their lawyers have a decade or 2 of experience. No junior associates who are getting on-the-job training with your startup. They do mergers and acquisitions, licensing arrangements, terms of service, privacy policies, and they just love working with startups. The founder, Scott Ed Walker, is a total mensch and just a lover of startups. I've known him for a long time. He comes to all my events, and he's indefatigable in his support of founders. You can give him a call right now, 415-979-9998. 415 is San Francisco, 979 9998, 979-9998, or email Scott at Walker Corporate Law, Scott at WalkerCorporateLaw.com, or visit WalkerCorporateLaw.com. And you can follow Scott Ed Walker on the Twitter, at Scott Ed Walker. And everybody go ahead and thank at Scott Ed Walker on Twitter if you're a super fan, because he has been, I think he's the longest running partner of the show. So thanks again to Scott Walker for representing my companies and doing a great job at it. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to This Week in Startups. My guest today, George Hotz. He is on the Twitter.
I do not have a personal Twitter.
No personal Twitter.
I think that Twitter is a cesspool of arguments and yelling.
Yes.
We do have a corporate Twitter, and we have a corporate communications manager, which manages our Twitter.
But you don't want to be part of the cesspool of Twitter?
Nope.
To be clear.
No, thanks.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. So Comma.ai, the proper place to go.
_AI, our website,
Or,
Comma.ai.
Comma.ai is the website. If you want to go on the cesspool, that is Twitter, Comma_AI, and you can mix it up there.
Corporate communications.
Corporate communications can do that. You're focused on building this product.
I'm an engineer.
You're an engineer. So recently you raised $3 million from Andreessen Horowitz. Congratulations on that. So this company is now gone from a project to becoming a full-fledged venture-backed company. How do things change now that you went from this project that you did on your own to being a big company?
Well, I mean, it's time to get serious.
Yeah.
When I do things, I really like winning. I really don't like losing. So, you got to win.
You got to win. So you're playing to win now. You got Andreessen Horowitz behind you. What is this going to cost to add to a car?
$1,000.
$1,000.
Under $1,000.
Under $1,000 to add it to a car.
Yep.
Really?
That's our price point.
And you're going to just bring it in, and can it be installed by? Can you bring your car in and have it installed by a regular person, or does it have to be installed by?
No. You can install it yourself.
You can install it yourself.
There you go.
Just put the camera on the dash.
There's guidelines. It's not as easy as setting up a selfie stick. It's more similar to setting up a piece of IKEA furniture.
Okay, so there's going to be a little bit of work. You got to do the diagnostic. Do you have to do some calibration, I guess?
Less so than you'd think.
Got it.
You have to follow some guidelines, but if you follow the guidelines, the calibration procedure is automatic.
Will this technology work when you can't see the lanes? And what role do these lane markers, play in this? Because it does seem to me, when it snows, maybe it's harder to see the lanes, inclement weather, fog, whatever. Yeah. And a lot of roads, they don't seem to maintain them well.
Oh, especially in California.
Right. I mean, we have a real problem here.
Yeah.
So how much of staying in the lane is determined by the markers there?
Not much.
Not much? Explain.
So we have, the way our system works is it learns to drive by watching people drive. And people intuitively know where to drive in a roadway. So if there are any intuitive clues, our car will pick up on them. If a person can drive it without lanes, our car can usually do something very similar without lanes. So no, it does not need actual lane markings.
So when you're driving, what about in the city? When you're driving through a city, this seems particularly challenging.
We're not up to city yet.
Yeah. Nobody is. Yeah.
Nobody is. Nobody. Google has Light City, but if you notice, Google is driving in Mountain View, not San Francisco. Mountain View is significantly easier than San Francisco.
What is the challenge with doing this in a city, and how much of this is based upon having done it over and over again and using GPS? Does GPS play any role in this, or is it not accurate enough to play a role in it?
So localization can play a role. Our system right now it's very much like a human. A human does not use localization. Right. A human does not drive a certain road a certain way because they've driven, maybe over a long period of time you develop like muscle memory if you've driven the exact same commute every day. But no, humans use very little localization and a lot of camera and a lot of online feedback. Right? My car's pulling a little bit to the right. Oh, I should be holding the steering wheel a little bit more to the left, right? It's that kind of stuff that our system's capable of doing that no other system shipping today can, including Google's.
Interesting. So what is the difference between yours and, say, Google's? Because Google's supposedly, with this LiDAR system, is $50,000 to put on a car?
More than that.
100,000, yeah.
Yeah, I think Google has about $150,000 worth of sensors on a car. Google does not just have an expensive LiDAR system, they also have a very expensive GPS system.
Got it.
So, yeah, I mean, Google's car is fairly dumb. The way it works, it pretty much says, okay, I've been exactly here before. I went exactly this way. Let me continue to go exactly that way. Our car, every time looks around, it's like, okay, if I gave a human this picture, where would they drive the car?
Got it. And so when do you think these systems will be able to navigate cities? Because that seems to be a big sort of question, is when can a city dweller use them?
Well, again, Mountain View's a lot easier than San Francisco.
Got it.
I don't talk too much about future plans.
Got it.
I'm very focused on our product at the end of this year. Will be a lot more like Tesla Autopilot. I would not recommend using it in a city.
Right.
We are exploring cities. We're working with a small electric car company, WeGo. They've outfitted. So for a couple things you need for city. So for highway, you can get away with a forward-facing radar and a forward-facing camera, which is what our system will be.
Right.
For cities, you need much more periphery awareness.
Yeah.
So we want to have a system that has 360 degrees of...
What does the Tesla have? It has the side, right? It knows
barely.
What's on the side.
Oh, the Tesla lane change is dangerous.
Is it?
I would not have shipped the Tesla lane change if I was Tesla, because so it has ultrasonic sensors on the side. Ultrasonic sensors are very short range. So if you're going 70 miles an hour, you turn on the automatic lane change to go into the left lane, but there's a car 30 meters back going 90, you're in trouble, right? Like that's a really bad move to make. So before you can do autonomous lane change, what you really want is radars. Is side-facing radars, which will tell you not just if there's a car there, but how fast that car is moving, because that's very important, right? If there's a car 30 meters back going 65 and you're going 70, you can merge. But if that car's going 90, you can't.
So it doesn't have reverse sensors yet?
No, the Tesla has limited ultrasound around it, and then a forward-facing radar and a non-color camera. Will be a forward-facing radar and a color camera.
Right. So in that way, the systems are somewhat similar in design.
Yeah.
And what could we do in terms of roads to assist this effort? Because it seems to me they put those little vibrating sort of bumps in the road.
Bots dots, yes.
What do they call them?
Bots dots.
Bots dots.
Bot invented the epoxy that was used to make the dots.
So bots dots.
Yeah.
Those seem to me to be incredibly effective at keeping you in the lane because you know physically that that's happening. Why don't we have an effort to put something in the road where we could actually define the lane either electronically or in a very precise way?
Because governments are incompetent.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, you can't rely on the government or like that requires a big collective action.
Yeah.
That's not how self-driving cars are going to come into existence. The only way that could work is if Google bought Kansas City and replaced all the roads with their, mega Google box.
But is there a device we could put in roads that would actually do that?
You don't need to.
You don't need to.
AI technology is getting so good that that's not, going to help you much.
Let's talk about AI then.
Sure.
Explain what impact AI will have on self-driving and when we'll start to see that sort of hit.
And to bring another, to point something else out about the lanes, you do not want your intelligence on the road, you want your intelligence in the car. Because say your intelligence on the road breaks, then your cars will start to do monumentally stupid things, right? Like if you have something that's trained in the way our car is trained, with deep learning by watching people drive, it's less likely to ever decide crashing into a wall is a good idea. It's very unlikely to decide that. Incredibly unlikely. But if you have, like, say you had lane markers along the side of the wall, special wall markers.
Right.
2 of the wall markers ran out of battery and the car's like, oh, there's a lane over there. This guy's going slow. Let me get around. And you hit the wall, right?
Or somebody moves the wall markers and puts them in the middle of the road.
Well,
and then it slams on the brake. I mean, you could have wacky stuff like that happen.
Yeah, so it's just not a good way to do it. Look at the way people drive cars and try to mimic that. Stop trying to invent a new way of driving.
Right.
I mean, that's fine if you're going to rebuild all the roads, but that's a hopeless project.
What about this project of having the cars be able to communicate with each other?
Hopeless. People talk about vehicle-to-vehicle communication. It's the most absurd thing ever. Have you ever tried to pair, a phone with a car using Bluetooth, and what a disaster that is?
Yeah, it takes about 20 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, let me connect to that car up there, and let me see if he's hitting the brakes. No, pairing, and you crashed, right?
Yeah.
It's hopeless. You want vehicle-to-vehicle communication? I'll give you vehicle-to-vehicle communication. The guy in the front hits the brakes. the brake lights turn on, and my camera sees the brake lights. Vehicle-to-vehicle communication.
We're done.
Look at that. We're done. Easy.
So let's talk about AI and the role of AI in this. Is that implemented yet in your system? Is that something that's like a little bit of a longer process? You got to get 10,000 cars on the road or something to start this learning process?
So we have already in beta and launching very shortly a phone app. This phone app is called Chffr. And you can think of it like Dropcam plus Fitbit for your car, right? So it's like Dropcam, it's a dash cam. It records everything. It records the camera the whole time you're driving. So say someone cut, and you can view it in a nice web interface. It's quite nice. Chffr.
Not out yet.
Chffr is in closed, soon to be a little bit more open beta.
Oh, I might need to get a test flight.
Yeah. No, I really enjoy. Like,
is it like the Russian dash cam, so you can just like record what happens if somebody does something stupid in front of you?
But it's cloud.
Okay.
So
like Waze.
It's similar to Waze. Actually, one of our angel investors was the first community manager at Waze.
Got it.
And she
Diane
gave us
Eisner?
Yes.
A friend of mine.
She gave us some great advice on how to build out this kind of thing. It's, I'm not too big a fan of a lot. Like, I really like driving, first off. Like, I really enjoy it. I've driven across the country 8 times. And I wish I had records of all that,
Yeah.
Like, I really mean it. Like, I'm not like
people
trying to sell you.
People put GoPros on their cars.
I'm not trying to sell you on my dog walking app. It's like you mount it up there. It's very low maintenance. It automatically starts and stops. And it records, your whole drive, uploads that to the cloud, and then you can click. I should really have a demo of this.
It's okay.
You can click.
You can send it to us after we tape the show, and we'll feed it in.
Sure.
So that's easy. Yeah.
You can click, and you can click on the map, and you can see, okay, what was my car seeing at this point? How fast was I going? It's like Fitbit too, because you track all your drives over time. Today my commute took 53 minutes. Yesterday it took 48.
Oh, I'd love to have something like that.
Right? And then not only that, soon we're going to have technology where you can compare the two. Okay, where did you lose those 4 minutes, right?
Gotcha.
Optimize your commute. I don't know. I think the data stuff's kind of cool.
Well, it could be tell you consistently, hey, when you're going down to Atherton from the city, you're consistently, at the airport, this is when you're getting backed up, whatever.
Yeah, and you can like micro optimize traffic, beyond what any of these other guys are doing.
Now, is this your play to then get a bunch of data into the cloud and then be able to analyze it for AI and learning?
Our plan is to have the world teach our car how to drive. Right? So all of this data, we have, pictures that the car was seeing at that time, and we have paths that the car went. And that's pretty much all we need to train.
Right.
We're like, given this picture, where should I drive the car? So we build this massive data set out, and then we train our machine learning to do that.
Got it. And so that'll be deployed at some point this year, the Chffr app?
Oh, the Chffr app, if you go to Comma.ai right now and you sign up for the beta and you have a Galaxy S7 or a Nexus 6P, I will email you tonight. I will email you tonight with a beta,
cool.
code. Yeah. Galaxy S7, Nexus 6P, very shortly, Samsung Galaxy S6. Or if you already have a OnePlus 3, we already support you.
Let me tell you about one of my favorite services in the world. It's called Squarespace. 10 years ago, 5 years ago, I used to have to go hire a consultant to build a website, and it took months, and it cost thousands and thousands of dollars. And then when I needed a new feature or I opened it up on my iPhone, it looked terrible. And my whole life revolved around trying to make a beautiful website and had to spend literally thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars doing that. And then I found out about Squarespace. And if you want to create a beautiful landing page, website, or online store, you can do it on Squarespace for literally just dollars a month. I can't believe how affordable it is. And it's state-of-the-art tech, secure, stable, trusted by millions of people. Some of the most respected brands in the world use it, and I use it for every site. Why? It's beautiful, responsive, and they keep adding features. This is one of the great things about the software as a service movement that you've heard me talk about on our show. They are sitting there with, all of these customers, Squarespace, and then they say, oh, customers, what else do you want? And because they have so many customers, they can build feature after feature, but not raise the price. So it's like you're buying the service. It's like if you bought a car and they just kept adding features to it. Every day you got in your car, there was a new feature. That's what it feels like using Squarespace to me. You can go start a free trial right now. No credit card is required. You can get a free domain if you sign up for a year. So that's a great deal. And when you decide to sign up for Squarespace, use the offer code TWIST, T-W-I-S-T, and you get 10% off your first purchase. I know that many of you don't need to get 10% off your first purchase. You're rich, you're baller, you're expensing this. But please, use the promo code TWIST so they know that you're a super fan of the show. And go ahead, if you really are a super fan of the show, thank @Squarespace on Twitter for making independent media like This Week in Startups possible. It's just a great product. It's a great service. And all of my team knows how to use it. And we can pop up websites all the time for the Launch Incubator, for the Launch Festival, for the Scale Conference. Everything we do, I just pop up a new website, and it looks beautiful. And then I said to my team, hey, can we put a video? I saw somebody put a video in the background of their website. And I thought, that's incredible. You go to a website and it's playing a video in the background? Gorgeous. I want that. And they're like, oh, Squarespace does that. I'm like, why didn't you tell me? They're like, well, we didn't know because they keep adding so many damn features to this product. I said, great. Put on the Launch Angel Summit a picture of Napa. So they bought some stock footage for $50 and the website looks dynamite. For $50 in stock photos or stock video, we put this gorgeous video up. Amazing. And it keeps happening to me. I just love Squarespace. Thank you so much for sponsoring This Week in Startups. I really appreciate it. It means a lot that you guys and gals have been building this great product for so many years and supporting my podcast for so many years. Thank you, Squarespace. Okay, let's get back to this amazing program. So now what happened with Elon? Elon wanted you to come work for him or was going to give you $1 million bonus or something if you could figure it out. It didn't work out. What was the story there?
So it was a $12 million contract to effectively build him a Mobileye replacement.
And Mobileye is the Israeli company that makes computer vision software.
Mobileye makes their software. They make little chips. They make little low-power chips that they put in the cars. And then Mobileye's business model is this. They work with regulators in order to give your car a worse safety rating if it doesn't have a Mobileye chip in it, forcing car manufacturers to buy Mobileye chips. Well, I can talk about how terrible the car manufacturers are, and in some ways this is the only way to work with them. The only way they can move is out of fear, not out of excitement. So Mobileye makes these little chips that do low-quality self-driving features, that do like this very bad lane-keeping assist or an FCW, forward collision warning, that goes off for no reason or like that kind of stuff.
So it's not a high-quality product in your estimation?
No, and in some ways it was never intended to be. Right? Like Mobileye's business model is literally to work with regulators to get them to lower the safety rating of cars that don't have Mobileye chips in it, making the car manufacturers be like, well, we can't have a four-star safety rating. No one will buy our car. We gotta buy this Mobileye. Mobileye's like, yeah, Mobileye's are pretty cheap too. So the car manufacturers are like, okay.
What does it cost to put a Mobileye in a car?
And it's like $65 for their chip.
That's it.
It's not, well, okay, so it's $65 for their chip, and then you need a camera.
Got it.
And then you need controls. And then all said and done, like if you're trying to buy the ACC option powered by Mobileye in some of these cars, you're paying $2,000.
Wow.
The add-on, when you like go to the lot, it's like $2,000.
Wow.
So we're half that.
Interesting.
And we include all the camera and everything.
And connecting to the steering and connecting to the acceleration, that's fairly easy to do?
It's electronic, yeah.
It's all electronic. So you go through that ODB port or something to do that? Interesting. What will happen in the next 5 years in terms of camera technology, laser technology, AI? What do you think is going to happen over the next 5 years if you're successful?
Well, all I say is that we will ship by the end of the year. 5 years, who knows? So you have these players who are talking about cheap LiDARs in 2018. You have companies like Quanergy, right? I've never seen one LiDAR, never mind a cheap LiDAR. The only LiDAR I've seen from them is significantly worse and more expensive than the Velodyne LiDAR. Right? They're promising this $250 solid-state LiDAR. I just haven't seen it. From what I've heard, they have like serious range issues, like it can only see 20 meters. Well, that's useless.
Yeah.
So they're promising these cheap LiDARs. Some people are saying that LiDAR is the future. I don't believe that. I think that cameras and better processing is the future. In some ways, if you buy good cameras today, those are totally good enough to drive a car.
Really?
Well, think about it, right? Imagine you had a human drive a car with a nice camera and an Oculus Rift. They could do it.
Of course.
Yeah, get those like fathead, like the drone controllers, right? So clearly, if the only thing the human is doing, I mean, the human is digitized, right? The only thing the human is doing is thinking. So if the only thing the human is doing is thinking, it's not a sensor problem. It's a software problem. You need better software, better processing. You don't need better cameras. You don't need lasers. What about all the cars today? They don't have lasers. And then some people will come back to you and they'll be like, yeah, but 40,000 people die a year in car crashes. And I'm like, yeah, they die because they're drunk, distracted, or asleep.
Right.
Not because they didn't see the car in front of them when they were staring right at it, right? I mean, the human...
There is a misconception about why accidents occur. It's almost universally being distracted or inebriated.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not that car accidents don't happen because humans misclassified the car in front of them as a plastic bag. Like, I don't think there's ever been a car accident that happened because of that. Though these low-quality AI systems do that all the time. The Mobileye misclassified the truck as more road. Like, you know, come on.
Whereas your system with the camera would not have done that.
Well, the Mobileye has a camera too, but we have much more sophisticated processing software. Yeah, our system would have seen the truck. But
would have seen the truck, for sure.
But that said, there are still things that our system will not have seen, so it's not an excuse not to pay attention.
Right.
You should pay attention.
You have to pay attention. So a deer jumping on the road and you having 1 second to apply the brakes, is that going to be something where you're going to be able to correct for a stationary object jumping onto the road? Or is that one of those edge cases that, you know, we might slow down but not be able to save, you know, the situation?
Well, no. I mean, the truth is, if you slow down, you know, the accident goes from, if you don't slow down, if you do nothing, if you're distracted and the deer jumps out, there's, you know, then you're in trouble.
Right.
You're going 65, you hit a deer, you're in trouble. If you hit the brakes a second before, you slow down to 35, yeah, maybe you break your car up a bit, but you'll live. Yeah. You know, you'll walk out of that too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So what about the opportunity to daisy chain cars? There's a truck company that's doing automated trucks, right?
You're talking about Otto?
Yeah, Otto. Talk a little bit about that opportunity, both specifically Otto, but also the opportunity of maybe we could drive faster in these daisy chains and, you know, solving for traffic.
Again, it's one of these V to V things. So we can talk about trucking is a very different problem from passenger cars. Trucking and commuting are very different problems.
Explain.
Well, no, so first off, to come back to the point about never do this while commuting, You're going to V to V and anyone who's telling you that stuff is a loser.
V to V, what does it mean?
A V to V is vehicle to vehicle.
Right.
Oh, the vehicles are gonna organize in a daisy chain and they're gonna micropay each other with Bitcoin to save the fuel costs from, come on, losers, absolute losers who say things like that. Now trucking, Otto, I like Otto. I like Otto. You know, I don't speak highly of too many companies in the space. Otto's a bunch of ex-Google guys who got fed up with the fact that Google didn't ship. So there's a few things that are very different in trucking. One, $150,000 in sensors is okay. The majority cost in trucking is the drivers. Not true in airplanes. You look at the cost of the pilot versus the cost of the fuel. Pilots are cheap. But the majority of cost of trucking is drivers. So you can afford something like an $150,000 system that you put on your truck.
For sure. Especially if they could drive 24 hours a day.
Yes. And the other thing too is there just aren't that many highway miles in this country. I think the number's there's 30,000, 40,000 or something.
Right.
Like you don't have that much to map. So pre-mapping works okay if all you want to do is drive the interstates.
Right. The interstates are very controlled environments.
So the interstates with expensive sensors and fancy GPSs, you could build a system that would be reliable enough to operate without a person today.
Really? We could have these today,
Yeah, I think Otto has a pretty aggressive launch strategy, and I think they'll do well. You know, I'm happy they're not in the same product segment as us.
Yeah.
They're winners. They're winners.
If you were putting those Ottos on the road, I was just thinking about this the other day, if they can drive 24 hours a day, there is actually no reason for them to be going very fast. Would it make sense to put them in the right-hand lane and have them all go 50 miles an hour?
Why? Safety?
For safety reasons, or would it make a difference?
I wouldn't say that makes things that much safer. If anything, that makes things more dangerous. The safest thing to do on the road, and this is something like Google and a lot of autonomous car people, maybe they know this, but they get it wrong when they actually build the system. So Google builds a system that drives based on a set of rules. You have a set of rules on how to drive. Engineers think about how to drive. This is why the Google car has been rear-ended so many times. Because technically, it may be following the rules of the road, but the average human driver is not. Especially in cities, if everybody followed the rules, no one would ever get anywhere.
Explain.
You break 10 traffic law. If I drove here, I probably would have broken 5 traffic laws on my way here from my house 2 miles away. Now, they're not like I'm not seriously breaking traffic laws.
Well, the way people stop at stop signs and
well, okay, so the way people stop at stop signs, that's true. People don't come to a full stop. But again, it's not really dangerous. The way but even smaller things I'm talking about. Like the stop sign one everyone knows. But like say, there's a parked car that the guy didn't park very well and he left like a foot between him and the curb. You see that there's nobody coming, and you put your left wheel slightly over the double yellow.
Right.
So it's fine. Everybody does this all the time when
Right.
they're driving, right? But technically, if you have a very rules-based, rigid car, it's like, well, I can't cross double yellow lines. I can't hit parked cars. What should I do?
Stop.
And that's what they do. And then the guy behind him just smashes into him.
It's like I have to stop and wait. So there's no freestyling.
Right.
There's no...
Right? So I have to stop.
Yeah.
I have to wait for the human, maybe in the remote control center, to intervene and move the car. At the same time, the guy behind you is texting, why'd that guy stop? Boom.
Oh,
right?
man. So what is... you're saying this will be under $1,000 to install?
Yep.
Wow. That's kind of a breakthrough.
We got to hit that price point, right? Cruise automation, they're talking like a $10,000 kit, which never shipped, by the way, on an overpriced car. We're trying to build a sub-$1,000 kit on Hondas, Let's self-driving for the masses,
Yeah, and the Cruise got bought by GM for $1 billion, but the product never shipped.
No, never shipped.
What was the technology they were using in that?
So the... I believe, I've never actually seen the Cruise RP1. It's unclear if the product ever worked. I heard rumors that the product never worked, that they had to throw all that code out. They were not using deep learning. They were not using very sophisticated processing. Like the product just fundamentally didn't work. But the technologies they were trying to use are the same ones we are, camera and radar.
Got it. Where will this...
That bar was so ugly. The bar on top of the car. Ours sits inside the car. It's very nice.
Yeah. So... if the camera technology improves, is it going to get more refined, or are the gains going to come from artificial intelligence in your mind?
The camera technology itself is not the problem. If you look at your average cell phone camera today,
4K.
They're beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, they're beautiful. The Galaxy S7, the OnePlus 3, these cameras are just, they're so phenomenal. The problem is all the processing.
Got it.
The problem is all, once you have the image, how do you then decide what to do from it?
Got it. So that means what level of processor do you need to have to make a system like this? Does it have to be like would the Apple processor in a smartphone work, or do you need to have something more like a desktop computer?
Everyone will see what we ship with.
Got it.
It's pushing limits.
Got it. So I'm thinking then like these Radeon like video gaming cards.
GPUs are very good, yes. We'll
GPUs,
be using a GPU.
You're using a GPU, yeah. Because it seems like a lot of the gains we've seen in computing and artificial intelligence, this GPU revolution has been pretty amazing how quickly these GPUs have advanced. Explain why that's important.
Well, I'm a big NVIDIA fan. The CEO of NVIDIA has been in my car.
Yeah.
They've been, we've been talking with them. Really a company that gets where the future is going. Full disclosure, I have stock in NVIDIA.
Yeah, full disclosure.
I have shorts on Mobileye too, so maybe I'm
shorts on mobile, long on NVIDIA. Okay, I'm going to be making a similar trade after the show.
Oh, there we go. That's good. How about my positions? Is that illegal? Can I say that?
How about your positions? I think if you disclose what your positions are and you have a rationale for them, I think that's okay. You're not trading on any inside information.
Oh no, I certainly don't have any.
You have an educated position.
I certainly don't have any inside information, but. NVIDIA, just like, they realize that their GPUs are a lot more than gaming.
Right.
And gaming has a lot of the same problems. I mean, computer graphics has a lot of the same problems as computer vision.
Right.
So it makes sense that the things that were designed to do computer graphics, which is, process a lot of pixels, right?
Right.
So go from something to a lot of pixels.
Go from some code base to draw, Quake or Doom or some really high-rendered Call of Duty game.
Yep.
Going up and presenting that to the human being you're saying the GPUs can do the reverse.
The GPUs are good tools for doing the reverse as well, which is going from the pixels back to effectively what's inside the game, like effectively the game state in Call of Duty. Like, okay, you know, there's a Nazi over there, there's a AR-57 over there, there's, you know, whatever.
Go pick it up.
Yeah,
boom.
yeah.
Here we go.
But it's not even the AI that decides to go do that. It's just identifying that, you know, there's a dropped rocket launcher over there, you know, and there's your teammate over there, right? Just identifying that from the picture is the computer vision problem.
Why are we not looking behind us as well? I mean, is it an expense issue that you're not putting a camera looking backwards and a camera looking on either side? Like, will eventually there be 4 cameras in a car or a 360 camera?
Yeah.
Because these 360 VR cameras are starting to come out, right?
Yeah, I like them.
You put that on the roof of a car, would that work?
Well, okay. So one of our goals is user installability. The second you start adding sensors all over the place, the problem is not sensors all over the place. The problem is wires, right?
You got to run these wires.
Even the roof, you got to run the wires, right? People aren't going to run wires through the door jamb of their car. It just doesn't work very well. So that's your problem. Like, yes, it's 360, and it's not even cost. It's not even cost. If I had a way of just shipping, you know, 360 easily, I would do it. I would eat the cost just to get the better data, right? Like it's not a cost question. It's an installability question. It's also a complexity question, right? Right. The more sensors you add to your system, the more likely you are of having a single sensor fail. I mean, this is just, you know, basic probability, right? And if you require all your sensors and a single sensor fails, then, you know, your whole thing is in trouble.
Got it.
So we try to use the minimum amount of sensors while still designing a product that when you are operating it, you know, where it's meant to be operated, it works great.
Yeah. So what is the benefit if you can't go take a nap or do email while you're driving? Or do we think at some point regulations will be such that this will be so well maintained that somebody checking their phone while autopilot is on will not be considered that big of a deal?
What's the point of cruise control?
I guess it reduces fatigue. It makes driving easier.
There you go.
Yeah. So you still have to be looking forward. You'd have to, but you don't have to have, you just reduce fatigue. Yeah. But eventually, shouldn't it be good enough that you would be able to give it control? You think?
We don't build level 4 systems. We only build level 3 systems.
Got it. What is the major hurdle between the two? Like, at some point, we want to get to level 4, right?
I don't know anything about level 4. I don't know why people ask me about level 4.
Really?
I don't know anything
You're
about
being coy or are you being sincere? Like
we build level 3 systems.
You build level 3 systems currently, but isn't the goal in everybody's mind that you'll be able to take a nap and just go to work? Isn't that the goal?
I believe that the first country to get level 4 systems will be China. Yeah, China.
China?
Well, level 4 is in some ways more of a regulatory problem than a technical problem.
A regulatory problem. Right. You have to be willing to, what? Have a government agency say, we're going to take this risk, or we're going to only allow level 4 in this region?
No, you don't need only level 4. So we build level 3.
Right. Got it.
We build level 3. We think that there's a long roadmap of level 3 cars interoperating with existing cars, no infrastructure changes, in order to eventually get perhaps to level 4.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll invent teleporters by then.
No, it seems like level 4 is, like you said, going to be a regulatory issue of at what point do we want to take that risk, or is it a technical issue primarily?
You'll see level 4 in trucks long before you see level 4 in passenger cars.
Because they'll be going on these very constrained routes. And is the idea with these trucks is that they get to the exit, they pull over at a stop, and then a driver jumps in? That's amazing.
Well, it's a great approach, right? It's really a great approach, and it's going to be, you know, truck driver, I think, is the largest profession in this country, right? And it really is a great, you know, one of the first real steps toward eliminating employment.
Well, I mean, it would happen. So in that model, if the car was getting on the highway and it knew it was the interstate, perhaps the way regulation will unfold, or tell me.
I certainly don't speculate about the minds of regulators.
Right, but it could be interesting that if you got on the 5 freeway to LA, it would say level 4 is allowed here on this stretch of road from this exit to this exit. Could it not? and then it disengages when you get off in Los Angeles, or disengages when you get to, wherever in the East Bay? Maybe. Fascinating. Hey, tell me about this PlayStation hack you did back in the day. That's fascinating. Let's go down memory lane.
Oh, we certainly don't go back there.
Don't go back there? Sony went after you because of that PlayStation hack.
Sony did come after me because of the PlayStation hack, yeah.
But you resolved it.
Yeah, Sony's all right. You got to have new enemies. You got to move on, man. Let me tell you, I read the 7th Harry Potter book, and I was so upset. That book was terrible.
It was.
I watched the finale of Lost. I was so disappointed. I edited Lostpedia. I loved that show. And then they gave me that 6th season, right? But
it was very weird. What's the story? The two guys on the beach were supposed to be deities or gods?
I don't even know. I was
confused.
Like they were all in heaven the whole time or something. And I'm like, wow, really? You should have read Lostpedia. You should have read these fan theories, and you should have...
Fan theories were so good.
Yeah, and you should have literally made the fan theories. You know what I mean? The Veronica Mars movie. That was a movie such for the fans. The Lost people should have done it like that.
What about the shark that had the Dharma logo on it? I never understood that. Why would the shark have the Dharma logo?
Why were there polar bears on the island? Because they were doing experiment. Like, it was all poorly... Okay, but the point of the story is... And I shouldn't even go down that memory lane. I've gotten over it.
I've got over the story.
I've moved on from, hating the Lost producers and hating J.K. Rowling and hating Sony. I've moved on,
Got it.
It's time to grow up and do things.
And you worked at Vicarious for a little bit.
I did.
How was that?
Interesting.
Yeah?
Yeah.
They have potential, doing some interesting things?
Oh, well, maybe.
Maybe. Well, listen.
Comma.ai has potential, though.
Yeah, it clearly does. What was the... when you met with Andreessen Horowitz, what was their thought on funding a company to do this vision? How hard was it to raise capital? Did you have a bunch of people coming after you, or
it's easy?
It was easy.
It was so easy.
Easy peasy to raise. I
raised too much. I should give some back.
Really? You think you raised too much? $3 million?
Yeah, a lot of startups, they hire, they go and they throw big launch parties and they hire 6 people to do operations and marketing. We don't do any of that. We hire great engineers. We reward them with big equity packages. We're all going to get really rich. We're going to keep this thing lean. We're going to build something phenomenal.
I think that's a pretty good strategy. How many engineers now?
We're still in a garage. We've expanded a little. We literally, we expanded slightly out into Potrero Hill. But no fancy office. We have 7.
7. What do you think it's going to take to run a company like this? Like, to really finish level 3, have it be just perfect to your vision?
How many people?
Yeah. You can do it with the team of 10 or 20?
More, probably even a bit more than 20.
A bit more than 20.
A bit more than 20. You're going to start getting into, you're going to want people to really write good testing. You're going to have to, support technical debt. You're going to have to do research for the future.
Yeah.
So maybe, but you never, I think that once companies grow past like 150, you're kind of hopeless. So we try to keep it small, but it's a slow growth trajectory. We see how things go. We are hiring some people now.
Oh, you're hiring?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
How would anybody find those job listings? Where are they? At Comma.ai?
Comma.ai? Yeah. Comma.ai. We're looking for a game developer.
A game developer?
Yeah.
Because of Chffr.
No.
You going to gamify that?
Chffr is a little bit gamified already. You can earn phenomenal comma points.
Karma points, yeah.
Comma points.
Comma,
because we're earn your comma
What is
points.
the story with the name? Comma.ai.
Well, it's better than period.
Because the sentence is continuing, the story is continuing. Period's the end.
If you want to have a successful company, you have to be between 4 and 9 letters and 2 syllables, right? Let's name some successful companies. Google, Facebook, Tesla, not Microsoft, not Mobile.ai, It's not very good.
Right. You need to see that comma.
Comma, right? Not period. Yeah.
Period. Also, comma is there's more to come.
Maybe.
I think there's other shoes that will drop. So a gaming person you're hiring.
Yeah, no, but actually... to
gamify the system?
Partially, but more to build our simulator.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Because, it would be very interesting, I was just listening to you when you were talking about using the headset and the vision system. I wonder if it would be possible for you to pay somebody to drive you to work. In other words, I get in my car, a person who's in India or the Philippines who's a trained driver who drives for 8 hours a day, puts on the headset,
yeah,
and they watch me driving down the road. And
they drive your car.
And they drive your car for you. And it's just an arbitrage for like, hey, listen, I'm worth $100 an hour. That person gets paid $2 an hour, and they're happy about it. It's a $98 arbitrage. I can work or sleep while I'm in my car.
So there's a few technical challenges there.
Broadband.
Well, bandwidth, and even more than bandwidth. So if you want to get camera data back that the person would need to drive, it's a lot of bandwidth. Also, your connection then becomes safety critical.
Yeah,
you can't have your connection.
You can't have a drop call.
No, exactly, and that's the problem. So I would not trust that driving down the highway. There's also, does this guy really care if he crashes?
Yeah,
right?
I guess maybe his bonus is based on not killing the customer.
Well, yeah, but I mean, look, I like knowing that when I'm in an airplane, if it crashes, I might die with me. Exactly.
No, that's why I always want the gray hair guys.
Right?
I want the gray hair pilot.
They've been there for a while. The captain goes down with the ship, and I don't want, at least, by the way, whatever you do not buy a Dell server. Dell is the most, I'm shocked how bad their support and just working with them to try to buy a server. They canceled my order twice.
Really?
I think I'm getting too good of a deal. I think I'm getting, because I got all the bonuses.
They have these coupons. They have these servers in the cloud now. I don't know if you've heard about this Amazon thing. You can also
we use some Amazon. We use some
a little Amazon. You might have a little local stuff too.
Yeah, Amazon. Yeah, we might have a little bit of local stuff too.
You think you're going to get this done by the end of the year?
But back to the point about Dell being terrible. Don't buy a Dell, and it's the same. If it's the same people driving my car, I would never trust that. Okay, so that's it about Dell being terrible.
You're going to get this done by the end of the year?
Yes.
Be installable in a car by the end of the year?
Yes.
That's amazing.
We can do it. We got it.
All right, listen. Everybody who is a genius, video game designer, or just a great developer.
We're hiring a maps guy too.
A math guy.
A maps
person.
Someone to come in and run our maps department.
Got it. Because you can't just use Google Maps or other stuff like that. They won't give you the data, or not precision enough.
Not precision enough. We're building maps that are much more accurate.
Much more accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is where Chffr is going to come in handy, is that if you get people using that. So that'll be a free app that records everything in a dash cam way, and the only agreement you have to make is, hey, we get to use your data to make driving safer anonymously.
Yeah.
So no big deal.
Yeah, the whole thing's anonymous too. I don't want your name. I don't want you sharing this. Maybe we'll eventually integrate.
What a brilliant idea, though. If you could get millions of people to start using that dash cam, and then you have all that vision data, you're going to know. It'd be really interesting to correlate the accident data.
I know.
If you knew that this intersection, let's say you get 1 million people using Chffr.
Yeah.
If you knew that this intersection had this, because that data is public, isn't it? The amount of data of where accidents occur. So if you had that data available, you could then have one of your researchers say, hey, at this intersection, there's been 100 accidents in the past 10 years.
Yeah.
We're going to visually inspect it, and we're going to look at 10,000 people who've gone through that intersection and figure out why.
Yeah, you can look at we don't really know. Google talks about this, how we don't exactly know what the accident rate is. By the way, I was just bringing up on my phone, we have over 41,000 miles driven, almost 1,000 hours, 947 hours, and we have 62 users so far on our closed beta app. And we have over 10,000 people signed up for the beta. It's a question of supporting more phones. It's a question of supporting iPhone. But there's excitement, and the engagement with this app. The users, they love this. It's great. I use it. I use it every time I drive. It's useful outside of the data. Oh, and you can also earn comma points, which are incredible.
Comma points, yes.
Comma points you will be so happy that you have comma points
because you can use them for something.
With comma points, they're great.
Well, if you earn enough, you could get the $1,000 system or get a discount on it.
Well, you can earn them, and you can have them, and you can look at people who have less comma points than you, and you can know that you're a better person than they are.
So it really is about having the high ground in terms of being a better person.
That's right.
Better human being.
Yes, because you have comma points. Comma points are great, and you'll be so happy you have them.
All right, listen, George, when this kit's ready, I'm going to have you put it on my, hopefully you can put it on my old Benz. I don't know if that'll work.
No.
Benz don't work?
No.
It's going to be for Hondas.
Yeah.
You're going with the largest fleet in the world.
Hondas and Acuras.
Hondas and Acuras.
Yeah. They're very popular cars. They are, Honda has historically had a fairly hands-off policy to people modding their cars. Some of the Germans are a little bit more aggressive. And I like them, We had a Honda. It's a good car.
Honda's a good car. All right, listen, George Hotz, from Comma.ai. Thank you so much for coming on the program and sharing with us your vision and the progress. Cannot wait to see this on the road and hopefully save some more lives. If you're interested in working for Comma.ai, go to Comma.ai and look at the job listings. And thank you, Emmy Award-winning producer Jackie, for setting this up right after you raised this round from Andreessen Horowitz just a couple weeks ago, or you announced it a couple weeks ago. You may have raised it a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
That's typically how it's done. Raised it a couple months ago?
Yeah.
Perfect. In stealth?
Nah, we don't believe in stealth. I'm a really open guy.
You are pretty open.
I tell you everything I'm doing. Come on. Here's what I say. I'm going to tell you what I'm doing, and you can try to compete, but I'll still crush you.
Really?
Well, people who are secretive, they're afraid. They're afraid that I'll look at their idea and do it faster and better. I'm not afraid of that, you know?
You're not afraid of that.
Come on, bring it. Do it faster. Do it better.
Bring it.
Because you know what? At the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's about building this stuff and getting it out there and moving the world forward, not about, well, I'm going to keep this and then I'm going to sell it to GM for $1 billion and I'm Kyle Vogt. And, no, we don't go there. But that's
those guys may have sold too early. That's what you're saying.
Well, no, I'm not even saying they sold too early. They're just like secretive and like who knows what they did, what they had. Probably had nothing. Probably ripped off a guy at GM by being secretive about the whole thing, right?
Huh. Interesting.
I mean, I wouldn't have bought that company, right? Like it's I don't see the downside to being open if what you have is real. Now, if you're a company like Theranos and you don't have anything real, well, you better be closed, right? But
yeah, they kept it very close to the vest.
They kept it very close to the vest.
Until they got the life 2-year ban.
And they're talking about banning Elizabeth Holmes forever. I mean, secrecy's terrible. Why be so secretive? Why so secretive?
You know what, George, this is the most salient thing that's been said on the program in a long time. If you have it, show it.
Yeah, have it.
And Theranos could have shown it at any time and ended this whole.
Well, actually, no, they couldn't have because they didn't have it.
Well, that's what the logical person. See, this is the logic break that I agree with you 100%. Which is, I said, if you were under attack by the Wall Street Journal, Pulitzer Prize-winning journalists, and the world is coming apart, and you actually had the goods,
yes,
you would show it.
Of course.
Just like in poker, if you had it, you would turn over your cards.
Of course, you flip over the aces.
You flip over the aces. And now if you don't have it and you bluffed, you throw your cards in the muck.
You muck them, that's right.
You muck them because you're so embarrassed. And that Elizabeth Holmes, she just took that 2-7 offsuit, she just slid it, slid it right into the muck, and now she's going to get up from the poker table, walk away, and all her chips are going to be gone. $9 billion. Talk about a crater.
I know.
I mean, it is unbelievable how ethical. I mean, this is my statement. Yeah. I think it's unethical to put all those investors' money. If you do have the technology, it would be unethical to not show it.
Yes, I think that investors and people at large need to start realizing that secrecy is inversely proportional to coolness. The more someone is being secretive, the less they have. I mean, you can look at the other two teams who are actually really good in autonomous driving, Google and Tesla, and they're both super open.
For sure.
Right?
You respect both of those players. They've made great progress.
They're great. Otto is quite open. I respect them. You have Varden Labs guys. I like them. But then you got these closed companies in stealth like Zoox. What are you guys doing? Nothing. Taking money from Chinese hedge funds who don't know any better, right?
Right. Interesting. I was just thinking the same thing. Oh my God, George, you were a great guest. And this has been a great episode. George is not on Twitter. He doesn't care to be in the Twitter cesspool. Twitter needs to go 100%. I think it has to be 100% real names. And you just have a little button that says, I only want to be on the real Twitter. I don't want to be with the anonymous people because the anonymous trolling and the freak show has gotten so crazy.
It's also the format. It's just who can have a nuanced conversation in 140 characters.
I agree.
You can't.
It's collapsing under its own weight.
Yeah.
Collapsing under its own weight. All right, listen. I can't wait to try Chffr. Everybody go sign up so you get Chffr.
Chffr, get the beta. You sign up with an S7, a 6P, or a OnePlus 3. I'll send you a link tonight.
Which one of those is the best phone, you think, in your estimation?
Oh, the OnePlus 3 is incredible. The OnePlus 3 just came out. It's a Chinese phone. $400. I'm amazed that they can make such a quality phone for so cheap.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Producer Jackie, can you ask them to order me one of those OnePlus 3s, please? I got to get a new phone. All right. We'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.